Hello YouTube world, welcome back to the workshop. A couple of weeks ago I did a project which was just a simple pen pot, but it was more of an excuse to show you how I did my beading. As a result of that, Christine and Pete, some very good friends of mine, they messaged me and said they'd love a pen pot to go on their desk. The only remit they give me was it needed to be plain but with highly figured, nice grain pattern in it. So I thought I would use this as an excuse to turn another pen pot, but I'm going to use 5 different types of wood. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me turn 5 pen pots. I'll just turn 1 pen pot, but as I say, using 5 different woods. And as I go through, I'll talk to you about the characteristics of the wood. So woods I'm going to use today, it will be walnut, yew, cherry, willow and oak. Some very nice woods. So here are the different types of wood that I intend to use. So the first one up is walnut. Lovely grain pattern in this, very hard wearing. Been used by cabinet makers for hundreds of years. Does polish up really nicely. The next is a piece of yew. I love yew. Anybody who watches my channels know how much I love yew. Turns out beautiful. It's nice hardwood. Beautiful golden colour, streaks of purple, orange, white. Lovely. That's the only real problem with yew. It does have a tendency to split if you get in too narrow. Sometimes you'll get pieces all chip away. It does polish up lovely. Next up is a piece of cherry. I've had this in the workshop for quite a while. And that has been cut for a very long time. As you can see on that side, it's all sported. It should be very nice. Typical sort of cherry bark on there. Cherry is a very hard wood. I've tried carving with it before, and although it does look nice, it takes a very long time. Very hard. The other tendency with cherry is if it's not fully seasoned, it will split. If you take it out of the workshop and take it up into the house, if there's any moisture left in there whatsoever, it will just crack wide open. And then we have a piece of willow, typical bark pattern of the willow tree. I've never turned willow before. I know a lot of woodturners shy away from it, and so it's not very good, but I had a piece. I thought I'd give it a go, see what it looked like. I'll be able to tell you more about it once I finish turning it. And unfortunately, I can't show you the oak because gremlins have got in there and taken it away somewhere. And so, to recording our pen pots. This is the piece of oak I'm just roughing down there. Just using my roughing gouge on there. You can see why it's called a roughing gouge. You can see by the size of those chips that have come flying off. Right, so the next thing to do is I just need, that'll be that way around, so I just need to gently curve that end over and then give me a dip in there. I'll just clean out it with a bull nose scraper because that'll allow me to cut in both ways at the same time. Never had. What's it gone? A nice new hollowing tool that I made myself. Walnut. If for some reason the gremlins got in here and they stole the sound, so I'll just voice over the top of this. But as you can see, this is the walnut hot. Most of it's been turned, and I'm just at the moment just sanding it down to shape. So just working my way up through the grits, just giving it final polish. Just skip through this, and I'll go through to hollowing the actual pen pot. Here I've finished sanding it all down. I've just given it a coat of sanding sealer. We're just buffing it up now. You see that's already starting to get quite a nice shine on there. Now I'm just applying the wax. Now you can start to see the grain. Beautiful grain in that walnut shining through. Beautiful. Just a hollowing there. I'll start off my bowl gauge, and then I'll switch to my hollowing tool. That's all sanded down to 600 now. Now we'll just apply some sand and sealer. Have to get in there with a brush again. I was going to keep them all exactly the same with the burn lines and everything, but I think that walnut really is too beautiful. I think lines in there would spoil that. Whereas that one was quite bland, and I think those lines just give it a bit of character. I mean, somebody got to think about white wood, that's the one now. So here we have this week's project, and it's not so much about the turning, it's more about the wood. So this is a piece of cherry. You see the dark heartwood on one side, and then the soft spalted wood on the other side. It's quite a nice contrast, it's almost 50-50. Bit of yin and yang almost. One is a piece of oak. Quite a pleasing shape with that actually, I quite like that one. Lovely grain running through there. Nice size, nice shape. Very typical piece of oak. This one is a piece of walnut. Lovely grain pattern running down through there. Characteristics of walnut when you turn it, it is quite soft to turn, but it is a very hard wood, very hard wearing. You get some lovely contrast between the dark inner core and the whiter outer side, but that's from the darker piece. You see all that lovely grain running through there. And as I said before, I come down to the workshop next morning, my workshop smells absolutely gorgeous from the smell of that. This one's a piece of yew. Lovely grain again running through there. Polishes up well, looks good. Lovely to turn. Main drawback with yew is it does have a tendency to chip. I've got a lovely bowl in the corner of my workshop and I just chuck all my sandpaper in there now because I was turning it and a huge great chip come flying out the rim. I think I could probably save it. Maybe I'll get round to it one day. But overall, yew, lovely wood to turn. That is a piece of willow. And to be fair, I'd say to woodworkers, just make your cricket bats out of it and leave the rest alone. It's very soft, very fibrous. Not something I particularly like to turn again. Quite bland wood. Some darker shades running through there, but overall it's quite a bland wood. It's not something I bother turning again, to be honest. So there we go, YouTubers. 5 pen pots, 5 different types of wood. I made this originally, it was Christine. I did a beaded pen pot and she left a message and said could I make her one. It said she just wanted one plain sides with grain in. So I thought I'd just have a little play with it and just, I wonder which one she'll pick. Leave something in the comments, just tell me which one's your favourite. I think if I had to pick, the willow would be straight out the window. And cherry is very nice. They're nice for different things. Walnut I love the grain in walnut, dark, shiny. Again, the yew is lovely. I think that oak is quite, I've got a better shape on that one for a pen pot, I think. With those lines on there as well. Walnut very easy to turn, yew very easy to turn, but with a tendency to split. Oak is very hard to turn. It's absolutely rock hard trying to get a chisel through it, but it does shine up very nice and that'll last you forever. If she takes that one, she'll be handing that down to her grandchildren, I'll tell you. That willow, as I said, stick to making cricket bats out of it. I think that cherry's beautiful with its contrast in dark and white. If I had to choose, I'd be hard pushed between these three, between the oak, the yew and the walnut. Don't know, hard to decide. Probably the oak, I think, because I've got better shape on that. It's more of the classic barrel shape, I think, which is quite nice. So there we go, YouTubers. I don't think there's anything else I can say about that. So I've been Steve Howe, and that has been another great day in my workshop. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.